All right, let's move on to something very interesting that has come up in the last, just the last couple days. We have talked in previous episodes, and we had David Clements on recently to talk about his renewed posts under the name The Professor's Record. And now he comes out with some very interesting, I believe we'll call it observations. And for those who have heard me speak at private events and election integrity events in the last 6 or 8 months, we've talked about one of the data details that he now has gone public with. And we're going to spend some time after this where we explain what we believe he is seeing and what it might mean as we go forward. So, one, we recommend that if you aren't already following David Clements' account on X or on YouTube, or indeed on his website, The Professor's Record, we recommend you do so. Let's go ahead and play a short recording from his latest podcast, and then we're going to expand on that given some data that we have assembled ourselves. Here we go.
Engulfs our republic, its sacred vote plundered for over 2 decades by traitors wielding rigged elections and a media unleashed to deceive by the Smith-Mundt Modernization Act of 2012, a law that freed government-funded propaganda to shape American minds. As I've chronicled in Mr. President Look to Lincoln and Act and Antifa's Fall, President Donald Trump, guided by loyal military advisors, may have crafted a grand sting in 2020 to unmask this betrayal. A cryptic clue emerged on July 13, 2025, when Trump, surviving an assassin's bullet in Butler, Pennsylvania, brandished an immigration chart with a startling note. Its bottom right corner claimed he left office on April 1st, 2020. Did he signal a secret activation of continuity of government, a Cold War plan to preserve governance amid catastrophe, hinting at a shadow war to reclaim America? This question demands answers. Consider the timing. Days prior, the bioweapon known as COVID-19 was unleashed to shut down America. Antifa's street chaos during the Summer of Love shaped their Handler's Fear campaign, precursors to a stolen election, all tools to carry out a soft coup by globalist insiders. Think Obama's intelligence operatives and Clinton's hidden allies. In 2025, troops marched to Portland, Oregon, and immigration and customs enforcement facilities to counter Antifa's riots. New executive orders shield elections, and Venezuelan operatives are named as meddlers.
So, a number of different things mentioned in there. We're going to focus on one particular one. Now, do we know the explanation behind what we're going to talk about next? No, we don't as we sit here. But it is something that is borne out through Trump's own statements and through recorded television broadcasts where he talked about that chart that he put up that day, if you recall, the day of the assassination attempt. And he pointed to it, and in fact was pointing to it at the time that the assassin's bullet barely missed him. Let's listen. This is a different day, but he still talks about that chart as one of his favorite charts. Oh boy, does he love that chart. Let's listen.
Thank you very much, really, and thank you, a very big thank you to Pennsylvania. We love Pennsylvania. And as I was saying,
now, before we get through the rest of this, look at this chart and look at the red arrows. That chart tracks the number of immigrants, illegal immigrants, coming into the U.S., and there's a very low point there. We're going to discuss that low point in just a moment. Listen to what he says about it.
oh, I love that. I love that chart. I love that graph. I love that graph, Lee. Oh, isn't that a beautiful? I don't care what it says. I don't care if it said I did a lousy job. That's the most beautiful piece of paper I've ever seen. You see the arrow in the bottom? That was the week that I left office. See the arrow on the bottom, the big red arrow? That's the lowest level. This was done by the Border Patrol. This looks like a Trump special. It wasn't. That was done by the U.S. Border Patrol, who are phenomenal. ICE is phenomenal. That was done by the Border Patrol. That was the lowest level of immigration we've ever had in the country. And then these idiots, these stupid idiots took over, and look at what happened to our numbers. Look at what happened. Look at what happened to the numbers.
Let's take a closer look at the graph that he's referring to. This is directly from RSBN broadcast. It was taken in a screen grab, and if I recall correctly, it was during a rally actually here in Atlanta where they showed the same chart. What you're looking at in terms of the graph is the number of illegal immigrants that were coming into the country month by month. Along the bottom, you can see the years abbreviated. Starts on the left with 2015, ends on the right with 2024. And there's a statement underneath the graph next to the red arrow that says Trump leaves office. Let's zoom in. Trump leaves office. Lowest illegal immigration in recorded history. But what date is it pointing to? You can see 2019 on the left. You can see 2021 on the right. And you can see the first little longer indentation that indicates the beginning of 2020. So you heard David Clements just a moment ago say he gave a cryptic nod or indication that he actually left office in April of 2020. Is that true? Well, this is from a Trump rally. It was broadcast by RSBN, and that's what the chart shows. Now, do you believe that if that chart was wrong, it would ever be shown after the first time it was wrong? If anybody's heard what Trump's like to work for, it's very unlikely that Trump would ever let a chart go out that was incorrect in any way, but especially not with something that precise. So what do we do with this information? Well, at the moment, we simply think about it and listen to what David Clements might have as an opinion. And I think we wait and see. So on top of all the unusual comms that we saw this week from Trump and now Melania, and the things going on across the country that indicate there are many that will not obey the law in order to be governed and allow lawfulness to come back to their cities. What are we facing? Well, we don't know fully, but again, we can go based on some of the Trump comms. He seems to be sending a message that we're coming up to a point where the bad guys will no longer be tolerated.